$94,000. That's what one smart, responsible money decision could quietly cost you over the next 20 years. And almost nobody sees it happening. Here's the setup. You did everything right. You opened a high yield savings account, moved your monies in, and watched it earn a nice 4%. While everyone online told you your money should be working for you. It feels safe, smart even. And for some of your money, it genuinely is the right move. But for the rest of it, that same decision is the $94,000 mistake. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly which of your dollars belong in a savings account and which ones are silently costing you a fortune. Let's run the real math. High yield savings accounts have been having a moment, with rates that finally look attractive after years of near zero. And to be clear, a high yield savings account is a genuinely great tool. I use one. You should have one. But it's great at one specific job, and most people are quietly asking it to do a completely different job it was never built for. My name is Jack, and I spend way too much time thinking about where money should actually live. If you've got cash sitting in savings, but you're not sure all of it belongs there, hit subscribe, because today we're running the real math on high yield savings versus index funds. Here's the reframe. A high yield savings account is not an investment. It's a safety net, and a safety net has one job: to catch you when something goes wrong. Savings protects money. It keeps it safe, stable, and instantly available for the moment you actually need it. Investing does the opposite job. It accepts short-term ups and downs in exchange for long-term growth. Neither one is better. They're built for different purposes. The mistake most people make isn't picking the wrong account. It's using their safety net as their wealth builder, and then wondering why their money never seems to grow. So let's define the two jobs clearly, because this is where it clicks. The number one job of a high yield savings account is your emergency fund. This is money you might need at any moment. A surprise car repair, a medical bill, a job loss. It has to be safe, it has to be instantly available, and it absolutely cannot afford to drop 20% the week you need it. For that, a high yield savings account is perfect. It stays safe, it stays liquid, and yes, it even earns you a few percent while it sits there ready. That's exactly what an emergency fund should do. The same goes for short-term goals. Money you'll need within a couple of years, like a house down payment. But money you won't touch for a long time, 5, 10, 20 years, has a completely different job. That money should be growing. And leaving it in savings where it earns a few percent while the market historically earns far more isn't playing it safe. It's a slow, invisible loss. Now let's run the real math, because this is where it gets uncomfortable. Say you start with $10,000 and add $300 a month for 20 years. Money you genuinely won't need for decades. We'll compare two places for that long-term money. Option 1, a high yield savings account averaging 4% a year. Option 2, a simple index fund averaging about 8% a year, roughly the long-run historical average of the broad stock market. After 20 years, the high-yield savings account gives you about $132,000. That's real growth. Savings isn't doing nothing. But the index fund, about $226,000. Same money in, same discipline. The only difference is which account held your long-term money. That's a gap of roughly $94,000, nearly the size of the entire savings account total, left on the table by keeping money that should have been growing in an account built only to protect it. And it's actually worse than it looks because of a silent third player, inflation. Here's what most people don't realize. If your savings earns 4%, but prices rise around 3%, your real growth is barely 1%. Your money looks like it's growing, but its actual buying power is crawling. For an emergency fund, that's a fine trade. That you're paying a little to inflation in exchange for safety and instant access, and that's worth it. But for money you're trying to grow over decades, treading water against inflation quietly loses you ground every single year, while long-term investing has historically outpaced it by a wide margin. Here's the way I think about it. Your emergency fund in a high-yield savings account is like a fire extinguisher on the wall. You want it there. You want it full, ready, and easy to grab the second something goes wrong. It's not supposed to grow or make you money. Its whole value is being there in an emergency. Once your safety net is full, the next dollar has a different job to grow. And that dollar belongs invested. Now you might be thinking, okay, Jack, but investing can lose money. Savings can't. Totally fair. And that's exactly why your emergency fund stays in savings. In the short term, investments absolutely drop. So money you might need at any moment should never be exposed to that. But money you won't touch for a decade is a different story. The market has recovered from every downturn in history. And long-term investors were rewarded for staying calm. Short-term volatility, you can simply wait out. Inflation quietly eroding your long-term safe money for decades. That's the real risk. And you might be thinking, but rates are high right now. 4% or 5% is great. And it is for your emergency fund. But savings rates move with the economy and can drop fast, while the reason to invest long-term money doesn't change. Don't build a 20-year decision around a rate that can change this year. Let me tell you about someone I'll call Marcus. Marcus was proud of his money habits, and he should have been. He had $40,000 saved in a high-yield account, all of it, earning a nice rate. The problem? He was 30, and $30,000 of that was money he wouldn't need for decades. So Marcus did something simple. He kept his emergency fund about $10,000 right where it was, in savings, doing exactly the job it's meant for. That's his safety net, and it stayed fully intact. Then he took the other $30,000, the money he wouldn't touch for decades, and moved it into a simple index fund with automatic monthly contributions. He didn't take any risk with his emergency money. He just stopped asking his safety net to be his wealth builder. 20 years of that decision on that 30 grand plus contributions is a 6-figure difference. Same saver, just the right money in the right place. So let's bring it home. A high yield savings account is fantastic for your emergency fund and any money you'll need within a couple of years. Keep that money there, keep it safe, and let it earn its few percent. But money you won't touch for a decade or more shouldn't sit in a safety net. Over 20 years, that choice was a $90,000 difference before you even count inflation. Because here's the truth, safe and smart aren't always the same thing. The goal was never to pick savings or investing. It's to give each dollar the right job. Keep your safety net funded and untouchable. Let everything beyond it grow. Do both and you stop losing money by playing it safe with dollars that were meant to grow. So I'm curious, is your emergency fund fully funded, and is there money sitting in savings that could be invested? Let me know in the comments. And if this changed how you think about where your money lives, hit subscribe, because on this channel we make smarter decisions with the money we already have.